Every province is doing it differently, and while Ontario, under the previous Liberal government, had tapped the LCBO to handle the sale of cannabis, the new PC government scrapped that route and has opted for a private sector model instead. Here to get us up to speed on the new approach, Adam Vassos of Vassos Law, which specializes in regulatory and licensing issues around alcohol and now cannabis. Good to have you here, Adam. Nice to meet you.
Thank you for inviting me,
This
Steve.
all comes in just a few hours. So let's, Sheldon, if you would, bring up this graphic and let everybody know that online sales, of course, October 17th, that's tomorrow, start to come in. Retail stores, however, not open until April 1st of next year. The sale of cannabis will be prohibited to anyone under the age of 19. People can buy 30 grams, about an ounce, of dried cannabis at a time for personal use. The Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario will be the provincial regulator authorized to grant store licenses, and municipalities will have a one-time option of opting out of having physical stores within their boundaries after the municipal elections, and next January 22nd is the deadline for deciding. Any idea, let's just start with this off the top, any idea why the new government decided to do a 180 from the way the previous government had set it up?
According to the word on the street, it's all about small business. I think the new Ontario government wanted to give small business an opportunity to participate in the process, not only as owners and operators, but also as employees. So as opposed to working for the government, you're now working for yourself.
Vic Fedeli said from the beginning, the Minister of Finance, the government of Ontario will not be in the business of running physical cannabis stores. I wonder if there is a case, I wonder if it is the case that there is less public safety oversight if the private sector runs things as opposed to having a government agency do it.
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? And at the end of the day, a lot of people think that government shouldn't be in the business of anything, period. Government should be in the business of running the province, and that's about it. It's a bureaucracy. So in terms of public safety, that comes down to how well trained the staff are that work in these locations, how knowledgeable they are about the product that they're selling, and how concerned the owners and the operators are with ensuring public safety.
Should we have any concern that private sector folks can do this?
Absolutely not. I mean, I believe that private sector folks will do just as good, if not a better job, because they're competing against each other. If it was the other way around and you had the Ontario Cannabis Store doing it, there'd be no competition. It would essentially be a monopoly.
Well, let me ask you about that. The Ontario Cannabis Store, TOCS for short, that the Liberals set up, what function does that now serve? So
the function originally was that it was going to be the operator of the retail cannabis stores as well as the online sales. That's now changed. They will be doing online sales, I apologize. They'll be doing online sales commencing tomorrow and until April when the retail cannabis stores will open. At that point, they'll become strictly a wholesaler of cannabis to the
retail
privately
outlets.
owned, yes.
So the retailers will go to the Ontario Cannabis Store to buy their product, and then they market it however they want.
Yes. Imagine the LCBO not having its own stores, but just being the wholesaler.
Right.
It'll be exactly the same thing.
They're both, of course, wholesale and retail.
That's right.
The Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario already grants alcohol licenses. Are they going to run the cannabis licensing system the same way?
Yes. Yes. It'll be very similar. I mean, the Alcohol and Gaming Commission, it's a regulatory body, and right now it oversees horse racing, alcohol, gaming, and lottery. They're going to add cannabis now to that area that they regulate. So not only will they be issuing the licenses, but they'll be conducting all the due diligence that's involved with granting the licenses, looking into the background of
Let me ask you about that. What are they looking for in a prospective licensee?
Everything.
Everything.
Yeah. Well, they're extremely concerned because it's about public safety, but it's also making sure that the black market's gone. So they're going to be looking for the money. Where's the money coming from? Who are these applicants? Are they properly trained? In addition to, will they be good operators? They want to make sure that they're legitimate business people and that they were never involved in the black market. And I think that's what the magic is all about.
Okay, if you're in the black market, you obviously don't necessarily have a criminal record. So I should ask you about that. If you have a criminal record, can you apply for a license to retail marijuana?
Yes. Well, that's what we've been told by the Attorney General. So the biggest concern the Attorney General seemed to have in her announcement was that as long as you are not involved in the sale of cannabis come October the 17th, there will be no prohibition against you from opening or applying for a license for a retail cannabis store.
What if you were one of those little storefront places that didn't have a sign outside, but everybody knew what was going on there,
Right.
and you'd been busted from time to time, and you wanted to get a license? You have the expertise,
Right.
having been in the field for a while,
Yeah.
but you've got a criminal record. Would that be a problem for getting a license?
Apparently not. Apparently, if you're closed, if you're not charged under the Cannabis Act after October the 17th, you can apply for a license.
If you just want to set up a little corner mom and pop cannabis sales outlet, what are your chances of getting a license?
Well, the issue with that is there's going to be regulations, and they haven't dropped yet, Steve, but there will be regulations about the safety and security and the protocols that are going to be required for a location. We anticipate that the average cost of a store at the low end will be about $200,000 to $400,000 and going up from there into the millions. So a small mom and pop place, if they had a budget of $200,000 to $400,000, absolutely, they could apply for it. But if their budget was a lot lower than that and they couldn't meet the safety qualifications and the requirements, then it's unlikely they'll be able to obtain a license.
Is it your expectation that it will be large companies with multiple locations that end up basically cornering the market here?
It's possible, although the government and the AGCO have hinted that there may be restrictions on the number of locations that one entity or one person can own.
They haven't set that number yet.
It hasn't been set yet, no.
Okay. This is your business, right? I mean, you get clients who come to you and they want your legal advice on all of this kind of stuff.
Right.
Who are the kinds of people, you don't have to give us names obviously, but what kinds of people are coming forward right now asking for your advice?
Well, I think you hit the nail right on the head. We have mom and pop operators, we have mid-sized people, and we have clients that are opening up or want to open up in excess of 150 stores.
All across the province?
We're all across the province, yeah. But that's what you want. You want investment. You want people who are going to be serious about operating a store properly, who are going to follow the regulations, who are going to train their staff to ensure public safety and public security is adhered to.
Has the province yet said how many total stores they will allow licensed in the province?
At this point in time, our understanding is that it's unlimited. And we're expecting that there'll be thousands of applications when the application process drops.
Right. Now, and presumably some of those applications will be denied. Once you've been denied, can you reapply another time down the road?
The legislation isn't out yet, but based on how it was explained in the discussion that has occurred between our finance minister and our attorney general, it seems to be a one-strike process. They said, I think the term they used was zero tolerance, which to me would say if you're denied or if you have a license revoked for any reason, because that could happen while you're operating,
Sure.
That's it, you're done.
Game over.
Game over. So probably a lifetime ban, possibility.
Let me read you something here. This is from a couple of guys who work with Environics, writing in the Toronto Star back in August. Initially, they write, the OCS, Tokes, plan to open just 40 stores across the province, increasing to 150 in total by the end of the year 2020.
Right.
The province determined where these stores would be located, with local municipalities having an opportunity to provide input on the locations. Depending on what happens with the regulation and licensing process, private retailers will likely be able to open a larger number of stores more quickly. This could lead to disagreements, however, if residents seek to keep retailers out of their neighborhoods. Do we know whether the legislation has some provision in it for local input?
Great question, and it's an important question, I think, for the local communities. At this point in time, the legislation isn't clear. There will be an opportunity, and there's always an opportunity with the AGCO for some kind of public input. Presently, if you're opposed, for example, to a liquor license, you can apply along with the applicant, you can submit an objection, and that forces the applicant to either meet with you and determine what your concerns are as a community group or as an individual. And if you can't meet that requirement of resolving your issues, then you're automatically forced to a hearing in front of the Licensing Appeal Tribunal. It's unclear whether that'll exist under this policy. And in terms of public input. If there was public input, it would be limited to public interest, true public interest. So there's too many locations, wouldn't qualify. It's too noisy, wouldn't qualify. We don't want it around because we think it's a bad business idea.
Or it's too close to a school or whatever, too close to a daycare center.
That's different because that'll be regulated. It's expected that the AGCO and the Ontario government will determine how close they can be to public facilities. So a kilometre, half a kilometre. There will definitely be requirements in terms of location and proximity, and possibly even proximity to other stores. So you may find that there may not be a store permitted within 500 meters of another store.
I just remember, I mean, you probably remember this too. I mean, the West End of Toronto, right? High Park was dry.
Yes.
No booze sales at any restaurants for 100 years. I think they had a referendum only, I don't know, 20 years ago or so, when it finally became wet. Because the local residents, despite what was going on in the rest of the province, they wanted their little part of Toronto dry. Can you imagine that kind of thing happening here?
If a municipality opts out, then it's out. So, I mean, that's the only way I see it happening in terms of it being dry. In terms of what influence the local community or individual objectors will have, that is still to be seen, Steve. It's not clear.
Okay, Adam Vassos, thanks for coming in tonight and helping us out with this.
Thank you, Steve.
The Agenda with Steve Paikin is brought to you by the Chartered Professional Accountants of Ontario, helping businesses stay on the right side of change with strategic thinking, insightful decisions, and business leadership. Are you on the right side of change? Ask an Ontario CPA.